All right. I think you need to approve it.
Yep. All good.
Here we go. It looks like it's growing. At least.
Yeah. No, number go up. Yeah. Let's explain this. What are we looking at exactly? And is this good or bad?
We look at a full timeline from since HEX was basically since HEX launched until now, of HEX addresses who have 15 years active stakes. And it's on Ethereum, so it's not PHEX, it's EHEX. Sorry for that. I only have EHEX data currently.
Gotcha.
But to understand the growth, I think that you can see here also very nicely. We can just see at the very beginning that December 9th, let's say, we had 262 addresses, and we grew from there. Let's go maybe along the timeline. We grew, especially we had here a bump that was November 2020, big payday. And then we grew, I mean, very steadily. And let's say here we had a bump. What's that? That's kind of September 2021, October 2021. All right, all-time peak. But we're still only at 10K users, 10K addresses with 15-year stakes. That's not all-time high. All-time high is now. Let's go further. Let's go. And then we have here a really nice bump. That's March 2022, and Hadron launched, basically with all the HSIs. So that gave us a bump. Then we go further, and we have May 2022, a bump. What can that be about? May 2022. Any clue?
That's when mid-May. It's coming to mind. Mid-May.
Mid-May? What's mid-May?
Yeah, mid-May. Well, I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is when people expected PulseChain to launch. Mid-May 2022.
All right.
Yeah.
True. A lot of people thought that it would launch. Yeah. Because I think back then, the Ethereum people also wanted to launch like mid-May, the ETH 2.0, which then they delayed. So yeah, you're right. It would explain. And some people wanted to show their belief. And then we go further. We have August 2022, which is ICOSA launch. So I guess a lot of people minted some 15-year stakes.
Yep.
And then later on, we had in November 2022, again, actually massive growth here from the beginning of November with 32K addresses until beginning of December, almost 36K. Yeah, I don't know. It was birthday. It was HEX birthday.
Yeah, that's the only notable event is I can think of as HEX. December 2nd would be the third HEX birthday.
We're pretty much down. Everybody thought it's done. I remember that. We still had to go a little bit more down. But yeah, and then we grew from there as well, all the time. And even now we're growing on the Ethereum chain. And we have now, is it September 11? Okay, maybe I didn't update exactly to the last date, but it's September 11. We have almost 39K addresses. Would you believe?
39K, wow. This is not just HEX. This is the believers. 39K addresses have 5555.
Exactly, and they're all individual addresses, not the same. Yeah, from 120K stakers, 39K are believers. I think it's. I don't know.
I can see that. I could see that. I could see there being in the community where there are people who literally. I don't even think it's. I mean, maybe that's why they call it a cult, right? Like it's not even. Part of it, a bit. Part of it is the capital part, right? Like people want to make money, but the other part is literally the emotional. Like, I believe in like the values of the community. Like I want to be a part of, even if the price is going down, I want to be a part of this thing. This is the movement part, that part of it too. So I could believe, there's, whatever, 30%, 20, 30, 40% of people who actually have stakes. A lot of people in HEX, they don't have, some people in HEX, some people in the community don't have much HEX at all. And some people don't stake or otherwise, but the people who actually stake for 15 years, me believing that somewhere 20 to 40% of people in the community, it feels that way. It feels like there are people who would be around no matter what, and they plan on being around no matter what for the next 10 to 15 years. So that is very cool to see. Like it's like a confirmation where you feel the community is that strong, no matter when crypto Twitter tries to tell you otherwise. But that's funny. People can fight all they want, but their bags say they'll be here for a long time. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I feel the same. It's actually kind of like, it is kind of like a confirmation, of why do we have so many streamers? Why do we have so many people talking about it, being passionate about it? I mean, not because they stake for 15 years, no, because they, at the bottom of the bear market in November, there were a lot of people who said, well, guess what? I will believe in this. I think this is a great product. And they stake for 15 years. And that since PulseChain launched, there are still people on Ethereum staking for 15 years as a new person. That also says something. Even if it you can see that we flattened out here recently.
Right.
Yeah, basically this year. Let's say especially around like PulseChain launch, we started flattening.
I think the whole not staking. Okay, so there's a gas problem. Sure, let's acknowledge today there is a gas problem. If you have a smaller stake, it may be unprofitable to in stake it later on. I get that part. However, if you have, I talked about, it's been a long time since I talked about it. I think it's like 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 HEX at the time. Maybe it's like 1 million HEX now. That's like the safe way to, no matter what the gas fees are, like based on projections and stuff, like, those kind of stakes are different than the small stakes that'll be super unprofitable. Like, you're almost, that's why pool staking, that's why Maximus, all the stuff exists to reduce the gas fees, to make everything, all the small stakes into one big stake. But if you're already making a big stake, then you don't need pooling for that, right? Like you don't need pooling if you're going to make huge stakes. Like you can do it, but it's not nearly as beneficial as the small stakes. So that part is one where you make bigger stakes. You can staking on Ethereum can still make sense. And then two, we don't know the Ethereum gas prices in the future. Like these guys are pretty good at what they do, and they keep inventing more stuff to make it more affordable, more usable, all the stuff in the future. If I'm betting on Vitalik, let's say I'm long Richard Heart, but I'm long Vitalik too. I think he's gonna figure out some stuff to, there are gonna be new paradigms in the next decade or so that even HEX stakes that are even smaller have a chance to be, not get murdered with the gas fees later on. Now, I'm not saying we should plan for that, but I'm saying what the current state of technology is today, I don't think it'll be exactly the same. And there's a good chance that, that some of the gas fees could be, more reasonable in the future. Now, am I telling people to stake on ETH 5555? I'm not saying yay or nay. I'm saying look at how much you're doing it for, and then I think the super opposing argument of not doing it and only doing it on PulseChain is kind of, I don't know. I think it's missing some information. So that's what I'll say on that.
Yeah, that's well said.
Got You say we got a question here too, or a statement that maybe you can speak to. So many of these stakes are so small, though I don't believe the date of that much. So I think maybe the point in this one is, how many of these do we know how many of these stakes are just like super tiny HSIs, for example, versus, you know, people who, I guess if we could extrapolate the number, like what percentage of people do you think are like, you know, millions of hex versus, you know, like hundreds of hex on some of these the believers chart?
I mean, I didn't look into that data, but I have another graph where you see a distribution of principal locked, average principal locked per stake days, kind of.